All right. It's a weird time of year. I'm not complaining that it's Christmas time. Far be it for me to do that. And I'm not complaining that it's the playoffs. It's a happy time. We look forward to it every year. I have always wished that somehow there was this alternate universe where we did what we do in December from a societal standpoint in March. Like I wish the NCAA basketball tournament overlapped with Christmas. However, it doesn't. So we get to these high leverage games and your calendar's thrown in a blender, and starting later this week, all the way through the New Year's, that's that period where you never even know what day of the week it is because all of your schedule, all of your norms are not norms. Kids are out of school, you may be off work, or you may be traveling. There are random bowl games on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, which is a good thing. Some say bowls are the best of things. Anyway, I say all that to say, we're not going to preview these games until after Christmas. We're not going to do the in-depth previews until after Christmas. So what I wanted to do was just some early thoughts on these games on the show tonight. That's kind of what we do normally in the playoffs. Miami, Ohio State, New Year's Eve, 7:30 Eastern kickoff in the Cotton Bowl. Extremely interesting dynamic here. Not just because early in the season, I said that there is no team that really looks physically like Miami, and all the Ohio State fans got up in arms about it. Like I said, they look like a bunch of poverty kids running around. I didn't say that. I just said, use your eyes, stand on the field, watch Miami's athletes. I don't see another team that looks like that. Ohio State certainly looks comparable, very, very clearly, okay? So it's not a soup kitchen they're running up there. Yeah, they lift weights too. They recruit elite guys too. They eat well too. Point being, from a pure athlete versus athlete standpoint, this is a phenomenal matchup. Ohio State's team has been, I think, fairly significantly better than Miami this year. If the teams play at the exact caliber on average that we saw during the year, this point spread is right. Ohio State opened as an 11.5 point favorite. It dropped to 9.5. I think it's the most intriguing game of the second round, and it's the biggest point spread. Just because athlete versus athlete, I value that stuff in the playoff. Staff edge, huge edge to Ohio State, both in terms of experience, and I'm mainly speaking about the experience there, but Ohio State staff is superior until otherwise proven, until otherwise noted. I think that's a totally fair thing to say. I think Mario Cristobal would love that being said publicly, and I think it's a fair thing to say. With Ohio State, what's going to change from the Indiana game? Follow-up question, does anything need to change from the Indiana game? Because they're not playing Indiana, they're playing Miami. So does a whole lot need to change? Indiana shrunk the field on them. You guys watched the game. I don't need to rehash this, but there weren't a lot of cat-buster explosive plays. There was one of them at the end. I think there was one other play. But overall, Indiana said, you're going to have to work to earn it, and they didn't. They put up, what was it, Jesse, 10 points, I think it was. And Julian Sain got sacked 5 times. 9 tackles for loss in that game. Hey, guys, do me one favor. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you are, great. If you're not, it's that easy. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't sign you up for anything. It just helps us do the show this way forever. All right, back to the clip. So I know a lot of Ohio State fans watched that and said, are you serious right now? Especially late in the game. We got these guys out wide, and we're not allowing them to try to take over the game. You got to let the horses run. It's not enough to have the horses if you just keep them in the barn. You got to let them run. Is that the approach they take? Do they need to take that approach? Because if Miami is as anemic in this game offensively as they were yesterday, they'll get shut out. So in theory, Ohio State, 10 points can be plenty. Which brings me to my next question. Is that really Carson Beck? Is that really the Miami passing game? Like, is that the offense? Is that really what we're going to get? I know what I watched yesterday, so I'm not being fooled by that. I guess what could fool me is I still believe they're capable of more than that. Like, I think Carson Beck is a better quarterback than that. Maybe it was that Miami knew their defense was locking in and they didn't want to press the issue. Maybe they looked at it and said, Fletcher looks good. Let's continue to ride him, especially late. It was incredibly windy there, and maybe they thought that we want to be risk averse and we're not going to really put the ball in the air a whole lot. Whatever the case is, they better be better than that. A&M defensively pretty good. They're not Ohio State. So you get to remove the wind as a factor, and it's not home field, although I expect Ohio State to travel very well here. So you get those two edges tilted a little bit more towards you. You're facing a better team. That's the trade-off. The key issue for Miami here is yesterday, Miami was able to run to win the game. I will have to see someone run the ball to win the game on Ohio State. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I would have to see that because I haven't seen evidence that that's possible this year. So my guess is no, they can't do that. So if they cannot do that, if that run game gets pretty fairly bottled up, Carson Beck's going to have to win the game for them. I don't know how much production he'll need. I don't know how many points will be necessary. But the A&M game, he's 14 of 20 for 103. Yeah, the conditions change here. So does the opponent. I don't know. I think it's gonna come down to him though. You could say it comes down to saying. I really think it comes down to Carson Beck. The secondary skill players are another thing to watch here because Jeremiah Smith's the best player on the field probably, although Miami's actually got some freak show athletes that could argue that. It would be like different positions, of course. But past Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State is still more effective and deeper than most teams are with their wide receiver one. So they've got options. You get past Malachi Toney, and Miami's going to have some guys step up in some high leverage spots. But how many points will be enough? So it turns out against Indiana, they needed 13, and that was enough because they clamped down on Ohio State, and Ohio State did not take advantage of scoring opportunities when they had them. Miami can do all that and more. So, again, are we watching a game played in the 20s or low 30s, or are we watching a game where the first to 17 wins? Just some early thoughts. If you want to go to any of these games, I was looking around the secondary market today. If you want to go to any of these games, I can get you a discount on them. I know a lot of you are going to travel to these games. A lot of you have probably never been to Arlington. A lot of you may have never been to Miami. How about that travel for Oregon? You got to go to Miami. Then if you win there, you got to go to Atlanta. Then if you win there, you got to go back to Miami. Whew. I'm sure they're happy to do it, though. If you guys want to go there, I'm probably not going to be able to get you discounted airfare. I can get you discounted tickets. So no matter which of these games you're going to, or if you just want to go to a concert this Wednesday, go to SeatGeek, get your tickets, and right before you check out, enter the promo code PATE10, P-A-T-E-1-0, for 10% off of your order. I am told many of you, many men, took advantage of that this week. And I can say that because I was hanging out with 50 Cent this week. Bradley, I didn't tell you that. I just walked by. I didn't say anything.